Hi, I'm Ferdy Serum, and today I want to discuss with you how the LEVERS system uses Webb's depth of knowledge to help you prepare for Common Core performance tasks and help your students succeed at them. This presentation is adapted from Karen Hess's Cognitive Rigor Matrix, which does an excellent job of taking the Bloom that we know and applying it to Webb's depth of knowledge. So when we look at Bloom, we know that it's hierarchical, and at the foundation is the ability to remember. That would be retrieving knowledge from long-term memory. Then comes understanding, where we're constructing meaning, and that can be shown through clarification, paraphrasing, representing, compare, contrast, predict. Still higher is the ability to carry out procedures at the right time in the given situation. And still higher is the ability to analyze, which means breaking things down into their parts and determining the relationship between those parts, being able to tell the difference between what's relevant and irrelevant. Evaluation is at a still higher level on Bloom's taxonomy, and that means the ability to make judgments based on criteria, to check, to find out whether there are fallacies or inconsistencies. Bloom places creation at the highest level of the hierarchy. In this case, something new is coming into existence, which could be reorganizing elements into new patterns and structures. We're functioning at the highest level of Bloom when we're guiding our students to product-based learning. So Karen Hess has taken Bloom and has correlated it to the depth of knowledge that we see in Webb's system. Here's an overview of that system. Depth of knowledge 1 is dealing with the first 4 levels of Bloom, as well as the creation level, which we'll see in a little bit. At level 2, where we're dealing with basic skills and concepts, we don't find remembering happening, but the next 3 levels of Bloom are. And with a bit of differentiation, we're also seeing the creation level. Level 3, strategic thinking, is dealing with the top 5 levels of Bloom's taxonomy, as is extended thinking. These correspond to how the activities in the Common Core, especially for performance assessments, have been categorized in terms of their depth of knowledge level. The challenge for us as teachers is that our current practices of teaching and assessing are mostly taking place at a depth of knowledge of 1 or 2. And yet the Common Core assessments are extending these to include all 4 levels. So let's take a dive and see what Bloom looks like at these 4 levels. What do the performances of students look like at the recall reproduction level? With respect to depth of knowledge 1, remembering looks as we expect it would, recalling, observing facts, principles, and properties. And at the understanding level, what we're able to do is describe or define these facts and principles and relationships. Application has to do with using rules in the right way to determine meaning or to do calculations in math, knowing how to apply the rules that we've been taught, that we can recall. And in analyzing, we're identifying whether or not specific information is found in the sources we're presented. Creation at a depth of knowledge 1 means brainstorming ideas, concepts, or problems related to a topic. So here's how Bloom plays out. The 5 levels of Bloom that are involved at a depth of knowledge of 1 play out like this. When we move to depth of knowledge 2, basic skills or concepts, Bloom appears a different way. Understanding now means specifying or explaining, showing relationships, explaining why, making basic inferences about what we're talking about. And we're using the context to identify meaning, to use our information to solve problems. Our analysis is now more about categorizing or classifying all of the data based on criteria. And beyond brainstorming at level 2, we're now generating conjectures or hypotheses based on our observations. Bloom looks different at strategic levels of thinking, at a depth of knowledge of 3. Again, we're not focusing on remembering at these levels. We're now dealing with higher levels of understanding, which is the ability to explain or make generalizations using supportive evidence. We're applying concepts now in a new context and really focusing on non-routine problems that require strategic thinking. Our analysis is now about interrelationships among concepts or issues and problems, and we're now beginning to introduce evaluation, the ability to cite evidence and develop logical arguments for our conjectures. Creation at this level is now moving into synthesis, here within one data set or source or text. And when we move to extended thinking, Bloom takes on still other characteristics. Understanding at DOK 4 means explaining how concepts or ideas relate to other domains. And it now means in the application, selecting and devising approaches among many alternatives to solve a novel problem. Analysis is now focusing on multiple sources of evidence and organizing the information from those multiple sources. Evaluation is now looking at the relevancy, accuracy, and completeness of the information from these multiple sources. And our creation is now synthesizing information across these sources or text. These are the principles the designers of the performance tasks are using, the criteria that they're using to build the performance tasks that will be used in the Common Core assessments. Our work with Common Core is going to be at the intersection of Bloom and Webb's depth of knowledge. And I suggest very highly that you look at Karin Hess's great work, which we'll have as links here in the resources if you wish for further information. And I'll show you in further webinars how we're going to use the LEVERS system to both create and monitor the growth of our students in these domains. Thanks a lot.